Diversity in general for me means accepting the differences of everyone and trying to be inclusive of everyone and learning from other people. I think in my practice I've experienced diversity. I think one of the things that I've learned more during the years is the different ways that people learn and the diversity in terms of the needs of each kid and the and how every student has a special need that they bring into the class. I have had some kids with difficulty of learning. So I've had a few kids. Well, I've had one kid specifically last year who was on the autistic spectrum. And this particularly meant that I had to really adapt the whole classroom to not fit his need, but so that I had that special attention without making it seem obvious for the other students that I was giving this special attention for this student, which made it was very difficult because you don't want to make any them stand out on the autistic spectrum, but at the same time, you have to adapt the classroom to fit their needs and avoid, in this particular scenario, loud noises were a big trigger. For me, inclusion um is having everyone be a part of the classroom, having everyone participate and enjoy and form a sort of a group. Um, and in the classroom, in my opinion, one of the best techniques for inclusion is just making sure that everyone is involved and that there's a diverse number of activities and types of activities in the classroom. So you not sticking to um one particular type of activity. So for example, if you're reading a text, if you're doing a reading exercise, maybe reading out loud isn't the best idea if you have some students with dyslexia, for example. So then you have to rethink the idea, and how can you make it into maybe making a fun video sometimes, or doing fun I don't know, exercises that are different. So include all of the types of activities that aren't just equipped to one type of learner, but rather work with all types of learners who are, like listening to music, or like visual things, or like standing up and moving around the classroom. So trying to change your method of learning. Participation and inclusion go hand in hand. I personally think that that it's the teacher's role um or the educator's role to get the students participating in your classroom. And if and of course there's a fine line. You can't push people to participate, but you have to slowly bring them to you to participate. So this means learning about your students and making sure that for example, if you know that your classroom there are 5 students who don't really participate or don't like talking in the group, but then you learn that they three of them have football, for example, practice. So then maybe next class you can have a discussion about, or bring football somehow into your class, and then making them into the class, bringing something they like into the class, and that way bring them to participate, and little by little they make part of they are part of the classroom. Because if they don't participate, if they don't take part of your class, then they don't feel like they belong in that class. Then the inclusion doesn't fully work, because they don't feel attached to the classroom, and they need to feel like they are part of your classroom, like they are an integral part of the class, that without them they wouldn't be the same. And that's what we need in order to have full inclusion. um I have, there's a specific group of students that I have a class. So I teach English as a second language. So my goal in the class is to get them to speak English and to learn English. um I have this particular set of group. It's a very small class. It's four, but they all have different learning abilities, and they're quite lower level than is expected of their age. So because they're all very shy, they don't like participating. They avoid participating at all costs. So what I started doing with them is every class, I set a timer for them, and I say, okay, you have 5 minutes where you can talk about anything you want, but it has to be in English. And usually I'll start it up with a prop question, and I'll say, okay, you have 5 minutes to talk about anything you want.